right now I want to welcome Allie. Allie, you've got a 5-year-old son, and you're worried about his behavior?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, like I was telling your assistant there, I was just wondering your opinion, if you could tell me a little bit about that condition, because I haven't really done a lot of research on it, the hyperactive or ADD.
Okay, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. That's
yes, ma'am.
A big mouthful. ADHD for short, right? when you're on a friendly basis. Yeah, so tell me what your son is doing.
Well, for one, he doesn't like to sit still for very long.
Okay.
And he's constantly moving, constantly going. And it's like, the noise. He makes, me and my husband joke about it. We're like, it's almost like we have 3 kids.
All packed into one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
what's the noise he makes? Oh, you mean just the level?
Like he's having a war with himself and this imaginary friend or something.
Yeah.
And it really does almost.
Oh, he's going to show us.
He's playing with. What is it? You want to add your 2 cents? See?
Yeah.
So, and it just, I don't know. I don't know too much about it. So I was just wondering.
Well, let me tell you my take on it, and then I'll give you the information on it. My take on it is way too many kids are labeled and diagnosed and have to carry this label through life that they have some problem with them called attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or attention deficit disorder, meaning they're not focused. It's it used to be called minimal brain damage, but how many parents want to label their kids with minimal brain damage?
Serious?
Yeah. So they changed the name, and then it became the disease du jour in psychology, and it is, in my estimation, it is labeled far too often for normally healthy, rambunctious, adventurous kids who have tired parents who are worn down.
Yes.
And that with many of the kids or families that I saw, a few I thought had the diagnosis, but I thought many of the kids were absolutely delightful, and the parents just needed some R&R and some wonderful parenting skills. And
how does one go about doing that? I have actually taken a parenting class and try to utilize the techniques I learned there, and to me, it doesn't work.
Okay, and I
even do the that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, and like he spends so much time and time out. It's like,
Yeah, and then time out sometimes it becomes pointless. The kids don't care anymore. It's just like, okay, we're doing
exactly.
time out now.
That's where I'm at.
And there's a much better way to parent. I do want to give you your information on ADHD too. Also, but the parenting books, the gold standard of parenting is How to Talk So Kids Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk.
Okay, can you repeat that one more time? How to talk, kids who will listen.
Yeah, How to Talk So Kids Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk. The book's available at my website, drkenner.com. I didn't write it. I read those books when my kids were little tots, and I became a much, much better parent than I ever would have without those books. When I say those books, the authors didn't just...
It gives me hope because I love to read anyway.
Oh, these are fun books. These are not written by psychologists with psychobabble. These are written by mothers who just had heard one psychologist talk of of a very, very easy on the mind approach for both parents and children, without letting yourself be a pushover and without having to be that authoritarian, you get in your room now, it's bedtime now. So it's none of the above. You're not, whatever you want to do, kids. It's a way that helps you give your kids guidance that lasts for a lifetime, and it helps you learn how to communicate not only with your kids, but someone else who's in your house, your spouse. It's the same skills that I learned as a therapist in highfalutin terms are in that book in comic strips. So there's also a website, guideyourchild.com.
Okay, I'm writing this down, guideyourchild.com.
Right. Cornelia Lockitch gives information, and I think has an email newsletter you can get. You can ask her questions. Oh, yeah, she'll be
What's her name? What's her name on the e-sign?
Cornelia Lockitch, L-O-C-K-E-I. L-O-C-K-I-T-C-H. Got it. Yeah, she's a wonderful woman. So she usually deals with the little ones, and as opposed to teenagers or whatnot.
Yeah, he's my only one.
She may be a good source of support. So saying all that, my son was very rambunctious and delightful and playful. When I came home, I never knew what room in the house he was playing in with the babysitter. He'd be sleeping in different rooms, find little cubby holes. And he is so spontaneous and fun as an adult. You don't want to kill that in your kids. So given all that, I don't want to totally wipe out the fact that some kids do have minimal brain damage. But I wouldn't jump to the conclusion that yours does if all he's doing is not...
Well, he can read and write. He draws all the time. And
I wouldn't...
Reading skill, he's not reading yet, but everything that's leading up to him being able to read. So, he can do all those things, and he has no problem with motor skills, like walking a straight line.
In listening to me, do you think he's got some disorder, or do you think he's a normal kid and you could use some help?
He's a normal kid.
Okay. Then I could give you the definition, but you can look it up on the web for attention deficit disorder if you wanted to. Most kids meet the criteria. That's the problem, that the way the criteria is set, too many healthy kids meet the criteria. And
that scares me because I don't want him, like you said.
I don't want him labeled. So I would just relabel my kid with his teachers or with everyone. I would just say, I have an adventurous kid, or I have a scientist. I have a little developing, curious scientist. And you reframe it all. Instead of it being a problem, isn't it wonderful that he's under the table during the Thanksgiving meal playing a game rather than just sitting there? Yeah, it is. How dull to be sitting with adults at a Thanksgiving table.
Yeah.
So I love kids so much. And I just love to see the ones that have that spark of life, like the Mark Twain.
He's got life, that's for sure.
Yeah,
it's just
but
like
if
he's got enough life for 3 or 4.
Right, but if you need rest and relaxation, if you need to figure that out for yourself, how you and your hubby can find some time for yourself, you may need some outside help. It could be family, or it could be a babysitter. We had babysitters, and we screened them very well, and my kids loved them, and boy, did we need them. We needed the breaks from the kids and things. We loved their childhood, and they did too. Listen, thank you so much for the call, Alan.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm Dr. Ellen Kenner, and my show is The Rational Basis of Happiness. Toll free 1-877-DRKENNER.
And here's a little more from Dr. Kenner.
You going to the party?
Well, actually, I think I'm going to pass.
Oh, come on, Doc. You got to at least have a drink. Give him a hug.
That is precisely what I'm trying to avoid. Since when did we become a society of huggers? Can't we hug for everything nowadays? Hello, hug. Congratulations, hug. Nice haircut, hug. It's absurd. If we want to express some real emotion for someone, where is there left to go?
I think you're way too uptight about that.
No. I see the Doc's point. We all have different ways of saying goodbye.
And that's from Frasier, obviously. And think in your own life, in your own family, when the holidays come around and you have to get near that relative who says, oh, come on, give me a big bear hug. Come over to me. I haven't seen you in so long. And you're going, oh, my God, I can't stand this person. How do I deal with this? Well, you can always call me. I'm Dr. Ellen Kenner, and my show is The Rational Basis of Happiness. And how do you deal with difficult family situations, whether it's with a relative that you don't enjoy being around, or with a partner, or maybe you want to get closer to someone. Maybe you want to have the ability to feel warmer around people and not feel like such a loner. We can talk about that too.
Nothing's coming to my mind.
Again, I'm Dr. Ellen Kenner, and I'm a clinical psychologist. My number's toll-free, 1-877-DRKENNER. That's toll-free, 1-877-Dr. Kenner. And my website is drkenner.com. You can always visit that. I've got information up there, books to read, and articles and links.
Here's an excerpt from The Selfish Path to Romance, the Serious Romance Guidebook by clinical psychologist Dr. Ellen Kenner and co-author Dr. Edwin Locke, who's world famous for his theories in goal setting.
It is important to introspect and to do so with the attitude that it's exciting and fascinating to come to understand yourself. What is the worst thing you can discover? That you have mistaken ideas or poor thinking methods, and these can be corrected. Many individuals don't know how to introspect effectively and efficiently, but at least they make honest attempts to understand their emotions, and they make some headway. Even keeping a journal when one experiences unsettled settling emotions or talking things through with a trusted friend, or if needed, a therapist, helps with self-understanding.
You can download Chapter 1 for free by going to drkenner.com, and you can buy The Selfish Path to Romance at amazon.com.